even the national media has now finally had to admit this is Texas Tech's moment. This is Texas Tech's time to shine. And you know what else they admitted? Finally, after we were all screaming for it last week, they admitted that Texas sucks. They admitted that the Texas Longhorns in the year of our Lord 2025 suck at football. That is what the national media has to say. Have you thought about how rough this has to be as a Texas fan right now? Have you looked at the AP poll to not only see the fact that Texas Tech is now in the top 10 at number 9, but look who's number 5. Texas A&M is number 5. So if you're a Texas fan right now, and I know, Tech fans, maybe there would be an argument and some beef still there with Texas A&M where you'd be arguing about who's better. Like, okay, that's all in good fun. But you know who's not in the argument? You know who's not in the conversation right now after losing at Florida and single-handedly keeping Billy Napier's job alive for at least another week? That would be the Texas Longhorns, led by football royalty Arch Manning. I don't want to trash him too hard. He seems like a nice dude who has not, I've always appreciated that he hasn't taken the amount of attention that's out there and used it to the nth degree. Okay. But Arch Manning is not a very good quarterback right now. The conversations about whether or not he should be benched is a guy that Paul Feinbaum was insinuating was the second coming of Tim Tebow, right? 3-time Heisman finalist, 1-time Heisman winner, Tim Tebow. It looks like Texas Tech has 2 quarterbacks on its roster better. Marcel Reed certainly is a more effective quarterback at Texas A&M right now. Can you imagine being a Texas fan and watching this all unfold at the moment? Even if you want to, let's break this down. Like TCU, better start than Texas. They at least had a fun moment this year. They got to just knock the living crap out of Bill Belichick in North Carolina on national TV to start the season on Labor Day when everybody got to watch. That's a much better moment than Texas has had. Everybody watched them completely lay an egg against Ohio State, not be able to move the ball, not be able to score. Baylor. Baylor beat SMU. So there's at least that. I guess we could debate, the Baylor start there. But the point is, if you just start going down the list of schools in Texas right now, Texas is pretty low on this list right now, man. Pretty low. And last week, it seemed pretty ridiculous to anybody, I was going to say with a functioning brain. Let me try and be a little kinder. Anybody who had watched football games this year, that putting Texas above Texas Tech in the poll was a pretty ridiculous notion. Texas had shown you nothing. Texas has still, by the way, not beaten a Power 4 opponent this year. Texas also has gone from being preseason number 1 to out of the poll faster than anybody in history. It took just 5 weeks, right? Anybody that was watching could really tell this, but Texas has that Longhorn on the side of the helmet, right? They have the brand, they have the SEC, they have the playoff appearance that they can still cling to from last year. That's what Texas has. What they do not have is a very good football team right now. So instead, the AP poll finally wised up. They finally wised up. As the conversation turns to, hey, does Arch Manning need to be benched? The conversation turns to, man, Texas Tech, okay, they're like top 10 good. Is this team like top 5 good? Like, are they there? Texas Tech winds up number 9 in the AP poll. Texas drops all the way out. Okay. It is, if you take a step back, just follow me here, okay, with where Tech is at compared to in-state rival Texas, okay? This is a season in which Texas is coming off of back-to-back college football playoff appearances. They're in their second year in the SEC. They just played for an SEC championship last year. They have literal quarterback royalty playing for them in the mighty SEC. He was the most hyped player that we've seen in college football in years, maybe since Johnny Manziel. That's an interesting discussion there. But yeah, you got Paul Feinbaum out there comparing him to Tim Tebow. All of this, the brand power that the SEC has, all of that. And here we are. It's early October, guys. We're in the first week of October. And Texas Tech has the spotlight when it comes to what people are talking about football in the state of Texas. Like, I get Texas A&M. Texas A&M definitely had a moment, right? I mean, they beat Notre Dame. Nice win over Mississippi State yesterday. Slow start, but nice win over Mississippi State. They are ranked fifth in the country right now, but because of some, sometimes obnoxious, annoying media narratives about how much money Texas Tech spent on its roster, I mean, Tech actually they are the biggest story. Like, they are the story. People are now taking notice, like, oh, okay, this team is definitely good. This team is definitely head and shoulders above everybody that they've played so far. We need to pay attention to this. Oh, they have this multi-billionaire oil booster. Oh, they have a couple of quarterbacks, both of whom might be better than Arch Manning. Oh, they spent a bunch of money on their roster this year. So that means, wait, they might actually be good because we value talent and above everything else, basically, in college football is currency. They look like they have that. So people are now paying attention to this. And it's crazy. It's so easy when you get caught in the moment to not see the forest through the trees. We're in the trees right now of the season. But if you look at the forest of where we were when we came and approached that forest in August and we're getting ready for the season and everything that was happening with Texas and Arch Manning, it is pretty wild. It is pretty wild to see where Texas Tech is at and where Texas is at right now. Like I said, it's going to come with some annoyances, like the clip from the broadcast that I did discuss yesterday, which was Dave Pasch saying that Texas Tech spent an astronomical amount on its roster, and that always being the center of the conversation when it comes to Tech. But as I've said, well, it is annoying, even for somebody like me, as an outsider watching it. Take the attention and use it to your advantage. This is a good thing. You're drawing more eyeballs to your program. Now, you need to back it up, keep winning games, but you're drawing more eyeballs to your program. You're getting a bunch of attention. Plus, it's kind of fun to be the bad guy. So turn yourself into Darth Vader. Be the bad guy with it. It's a fun thing to do. You even have, if you really want to carry out this narrative about Texas Tech right now, it extends to like recruiting. I mean, the Felix Ojo recruitment was one that I know definitely got under Texas fans' skins, right? And now, I mean, Texas Tech has a top 25 class. I think in both 26 and 27, right? They've been on fire in the 26 class. 27, they just landed a 5-star commitment yesterday from a defensive lineman who chose them over Texas A&M, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. So, I mean, there's a lot going on here that is working to shift gradually the narrative. I mean, you're never going to take away the Longhorn logo. You're never going to usurp Texas, okay? That's not what I'm sitting here trying to say. But it's pretty impressive how much work has been done from an attention standpoint, where we are in an attention economy in this world now, from an attention standpoint with what Texas Tech has been able to achieve by October 5th. Like, it's October 5th, man. Yeah. And we'll see. We'll see how, this is I hesitate to even say this because it's so early. It's so early. But Texas Tech has a clearer path to the playoff in the Big 12, no matter what the playoff format is going to wind up looking like, because they can't really agree on anything right now. No matter what that winds up looking like, Tech will have the clearer path every year. And now we're starting to get tangible evidence like, okay, hey, like, if you have the money, and it's not just having the money, but you do have the coach and the GM who can spend it wisely and do that well and evaluate. Because, look, Texas has a roster every bit as expensive as Texas Tech, and they're unranked right now, and Tech's in the top 10. You got to spend it wisely. But if you do that, we're now seeing like you can absolutely put together a roster that just looks head and shoulders above the rest of the Big 12. And if Tech continues to be able to do that year after year, you can see a world where Tech does siphon away at least a chunk of the attention there. From Texas and Texas A&M. So it's interesting to see the dynamic shift. No, this is not me suggesting that like, hey, things have changed permanently here or whatever. Yeah, we're 5 games into the season. But who would have thought, if I asked you in August, that Texas would be unranked, Tech would be in the top 10, and Tech would have much more national pull from like a storyline standpoint this year? other than the fact that everybody is just talking about Arch Manning and whether or not Arch Manning should be benched. Okay. But it's been pretty wild. So live it up, Texas Tech fans. Enjoy it right now for sure. Appreciate everybody who's here. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. All that helps. It is free. Thank you very much. Everybody who does that. John-Kurtz-4 on Venmo if you want to submit a donation there, and I'll kick off the next show with your question or comment. If you're not watching live, you can drop me a question or comment in a super chat by clicking the $ below the chat box if you want to be a part of the convo as well. For anybody who's here, like looking for more specific breakdowns of games that happened this weekend, it's been a change with the channel lately. Go back, look at the last few videos that have been posted. I'm doing much more in terms of reacting on the fly to those. So I did 3 videos. Yeah, that was all yesterday. 3 videos yesterday reacting to the biggest games that happened in the Big 12. So you can check that out. Let's address this. I mean, this is like fair enough pushback here on the Texas Tech stuff. I would just say, one, the comparison here is Texas Tech against Texas, and Texas has beaten nobody this year. So, okay, you can say they've played Ohio State and Florida. They got handled pretty well by both of those teams, and they have not beaten anybody of substance at all. In fact, not a Power 4 team. And Texas Tech went on the road to Utah. I mean, we'll see what Utah is. I don't think it's fair to fully judge what Utah is right now. That could wind up being a top 20 team, and they went on the road and demolished them. So, look, do I think Houston? You guys know my opinion of Houston has been like Houston feels like a 7-5, 6-6 to 8-4 team, but maybe toward the higher end if things go well. So, yeah, winning on the road the way that Texas Tech did. But again, it's like Texas Tech just ripped them apart. You know, it was so much more of a beatdown than the final score actually indicated. I'm not saying that they have played a murderer's row schedule so far, but the Utah win, I do not think is fair to just totally dismiss here, especially when we're talking about this in the context of what Texas has accomplished this year. So that's how I would address that question. And, you know, we'll find out more when Texas Tech plays Arizona State, not this coming week, but next week. I guess, you know, it depends on whether you say the week starts on Sunday. It will not be the next Saturday. It is the Saturday after that, October 18th. But don't look now. That's a huge week in the Big 12, by the way. Go look at the Big 12 schedule. We've got like the Holy War, Arizona State, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU. What was I think Arizona, Houston. It's a great week of Big 12 football coming up on the 18th. So, look, Cheris, is that what it was? Cheris. Fair enough pushback.